When did you realize you were just free nursing care? I'm a registered nurse. I work 12-hour shifts at the hospital, and it's exhausting. My boyfriend Jake and I had been dating for about 8 months when I started noticing something weird. Every time I came home from work, he'd suddenly have some kind of medical issue. At first, I thought it was just coincidence. One night I got home and he goes, "Babe, my shoulder's been killing me all day. Can you check it out?" I was tired, but I looked at it, felt around, asked him questions, told him it was probably just muscle strain. He seemed fine after that. A few days later, same thing. This time it was his knee, then his back, then he thought he had an ear infection. Every single time I walked through the door after a shift, something was wrong with him. I started keeping track in my head. In 2 weeks, he'd asked me to look at 7 different things. Meanwhile, his buddy Chris actually broke his finger playing basketball. Jake told him to just put ice on it and wait a few days. Didn't even suggest going to a doctor. That's when it clicked. I decided to test my theory. I came home early one day, didn't tell Jake I was leaving work early. I walked in and he was on the couch playing video games, laughing with his friends online, looking perfectly healthy. The second he heard me come in, he paused his game. I watched him think for a second. Then he goes, "Oh man, perfect timing. My stomach's been bothering me since lunch." I just stood there staring at him. I said, "Your stomach?" He nodded all serious like, "Yeah, it feels weird. Can you check if it's appendicitis?" I asked him what his symptoms were. He said it just hurt kind of in the middle. I told him appendicitis pain is usually on the lower right side and it's pretty severe. He goes, "Oh, well, maybe it's not that then. Probably just something I ate." And just like that, his emergency stomach problem disappeared. I sat down and asked him straight up why he always seemed to have medical issues only when I got home from work. He laughed it off saying, "I don't know. I guess I just feel safe telling you about this stuff. You're a nurse." I said, "Jake, your buddy broke his finger and you told him to ice it. But you want me to diagnose your imaginary stomach ache?" He got defensive saying they weren't imaginary. He really did feel weird sometimes. I pulled up my phone and showed him my notes. I'd been tracking every single time he'd asked me for medical help, 14 times in 3 weeks. He looked at the list and got quiet. Then he tried to say, "Well, you're good at this stuff. Why wouldn't I ask you?" I told him there's a difference between asking your girlfriend for advice and treating her like a free clinic every time she walks in the door. He said I was overreacting, that I was being mean for not wanting to help him. I said, "You know what? Fine. Next time something hurts, I'll give you the same advice you gave Chris. Ice it and wait a few days." He didn't like that. The next week, I came home and he started to say something about his wrist hurting. I cut him off and said, "Ice it." He stopped mid-sentence looking confused. I went to take a shower. When I came out, he was still on the couch, wrist apparently fine, back to his video games. This happened 2 more times. Each time he'd start to mention some random pain, I'd just say, "Ice it," and suddenly he'd be fine. Finally, he admitted that maybe he was asking me about medical stuff too much. He said he just liked the attention and it made him feel cared for. I told him I care about him plenty, but I'm not a free medical hotline. If something's actually wrong, he should see a doctor like everyone else. We compromised. If he has a real concern, he can ask me once. If I think it needs a doctor, he goes to a doctor. Otherwise, he figures it out himself like he did before he dated a nurse. It's been a month now, and you know what? He's suddenly way healthier. Hasn't had a single mystery pain since we set that boundary. Turns out he didn't need a nurse. He just needed to grow up a little.